Hello, it's Cyndi Elliott from IC Ability. I'm continuing my video blog from last week, which was on proper table and chair height for the best support for fine motor and visual motor skills. First thing I want to say is when we're talking about this, we're talking about kids that can handle sitting up in a chair with good balance, and they're not kids with maybe more motor needs or neurological needs. If you have children with those needs, you can call an OT or PTN and consult with them about getting some chairs that will support them more. Anyway, that's what we're talking about today. The first thing that I want to address is when you have those large tables that a lot of children are sitting at, you want to see on the legs if they can be lowered. So lower the tables as low as you can, so that's the best place to start. And so if you get the tables lowered and you still have children that are not at the 90 degree in their elbow, you're going to want to adapt in other ways. And so this is what I'm going to demonstrate today. And so what I do is I just pull in the good old-fashioned phone book. I don't have any right now, so I grab this ream of paper. And so what you're going to do is you will just pile a couple of these. I've done a few phone books. I also like to add some non-skid shelf paper. I like to put that under so that we're not going to be slipping. They have a better chance of staying on. So that's what I do. Sometimes I'll wrap them with that paper or with that non-skid material. Okay, and I've also had kids color and draw on the thing that they're going to be sitting on, so they can personalize it a little bit more. But look at, I am still, even though I still need to be raised up higher, and so you might want a bigger chair. And so I'm going to move to this taller chair. So this chair is actually good for the 90 degree of my elbow and the 90 degree of my knees. But if you look now, what happens is my feet are off the floor. So I don't have the grounding of pressing into the floor for supporting my body as I use my hands, and it feels really funny. Again, you should try this. It makes me feel really disorientated and kind of unsafe. And like it would be harder for me to work on a more complex task. So anyway, you have to think about getting the child up so that they're at the table at the right height, and get the chair under them. But then you might need to pull in something under their feet. So what I did was I just wrapped this box and I filled it up, and I can use this with a little child who doesn't have a lot of weight in their feet, to get that 90 degree at the knee. Another thing that I have done is I've had maintenance people make these little footstools out of wood for students. And then actually on the corner of them, I'll show you. I've seen it where right here you might make a hole and with a saw and a hole here, and then see if you can see that. Anyway, in the corner here and the corner here there would be a hole, and then the chair legs could go in there so that it doesn't move. That's an option. Another thing I thought about is why couldn't you have a really big one of that so that a couple students, like the student across from this student, could also use it. There's also on the ends of tables, sometimes there's that bar that goes across. I've seated kids to where they can put their feet on that. So I want you to be really careful with this thing under their feet because it needs to be heavy so it doesn't move. They need to remember it's there because you need to be safe, all right? So do this all at your own risk, but you can do it in the safe ways by having it be heavy, having the holes in it so the legs go in there, etc., etc. Another thing I've done is I can see that some kids do wrap their feet around the chair leg for stability. I mean, that's another thing they can do. It's not ideal, but I know this isn't a perfect world, and sometimes maybe it might be that you're asking them to do something a little more complex and you just need them there for a minute. That's why they might be wrapping their legs around there. So anyway, you need to be able to press into the floor to have the stability in your body so that you can move your limbs up here. And so that's why it's really, really important to have this proper positioning. Again, this helps me push into the floor. And the other point I told you last week especially is if we're low down here, then we're not going to be able to have our hands in this position. They're going to come more up like this. So that is why we want that good 90 degree in, whoops, I went my box. We want that good 90 degree in the elbow. So anyway, I hope that cleared some things up, and please let me know if you have any other ideas, and I'll keep looking for other ideas as well. And I just thank you for joining me, and I'm Cyndi Elliott from icability.com. Thank you for working with kids.